Greetings and thank you for joining us at futuremoneytrends.com. I have a great guest for you guys today. I got to sit down a few months ago with this gentleman in, I would say, late summer, and we had some drinks, we had a nice dinner, we had an amazing conversation, and I asked him if we could finish it up on our show and send it out to our Future Money Trends subscribers. So I hope you enjoy the next 20 minutes. We have a very successful precious metal mining executive, somebody who's built real companies, has made investors a lot of money. He's the founder of two very familiar companies, Timmins Gold and Silver Mex. Very well known amongst the precious metals investors, as well as resource investors in general. Any of the big names, you mentioned this guy's name, they know exactly who he is. They probably made some money with him. Very, very reputable and credible. I'm also interested in talking about his new venture. They just announced that he is coming on board to be the chairman and a director of Inca One Resources. Inca One is on the TSX Venture under IO and on the OTC under INCAF. Bruce Bragagnolo. Bruce, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Good to be here.
Hey, I look forward to having a pretty diverse conversation here. I want to kind of get into what just happened over the last 7 days, because I'm betting that is probably what's on most people's minds. You've been through many of these cycles, both as a mining executive and as a precious metal investor. Just give us your thoughts. What do you think? What do you think happened last week when gold took a big plunge on October 3rd? However, just so everybody, puts this into context, gold is up 16%. It's one of the best performers of the year. The mining shares are still up 100% plus, even as an index. So things are still good, but I don't think people were, I don't think people were expecting this. What are your thoughts of the last, let's say, 7 to 10 days?
Well, it's been shocking and it's been gut-wrenching for a lot of people to see the type of drop in the gold price that we've seen. I think most people were looking for a correction into the 1290 range, and we've got a lot lower than that. And yeah, it just shows you that everybody knows where the technical stops are, and if they can just push it below the stops, then they generate more selling, because everything seems to be done on a technical basis these days rather than a fundamental basis. But from what I've been reading and from what I've seen over the years, we're in a bull market right now. And I think you have to play the bias to the upside in a bull market. So, my hope is, and my gut tells me, and everything I've been reading seems to tell me that we should be out of this fairly soon. And it shows you there's a disparity of knowledge out there amongst the general investing population and the bullion banks. Clearly, somebody had some gold to either sell or short. And they knew that of course, it always happens during the week that the Chinese markets are closed, because it makes it easier to knock the price down. But you don't have all of those convergences of circumstances without having it just seems like it's too much of a setup. So I guess the lesson might be, every time it's Golden Week, get out of the gold market for a couple of weeks and wait for the inevitable sale down to lower levels, and then hopefully the pullback. There's been a pullback every few weeks after this takedown in Golden Week, so let's hope it continues this year. So my general thought is that this was an artificial takedown caused either by a large seller that was known to the bullion banks. But I don't think even a large seller would allow themselves to be sold out the way that gold was sold out last week. So probably it was just a chance to technically trade the market past the stops and thereby induce more selling, which pushes it down past more stops. And hopefully we'll be out of this soon.
Yeah, I don't know if you had a chance to see the Zero Hedge article. I'll try to put these charts up for everybody, but they did show that during the Chinese holiday week, gold historically has gone down, and then it does recover from there. And then there were multiple stories. I want to say on Monday of October 3rd, and I want to say on Thursday of October 6th, that, you had anywhere from $1 billion to $2 billion worth of gold just hit the bid in less than a minute. I mean, clear manipulation. Bruce, the catalyst going forward, let's talk about that, because the fundamentals for gold are better than ever, but it is the actual bullion itself is pretty sensitive to the news. What are the catalysts you're looking at going forward?
Well, there's a number of catalysts coming up. Anytime the Fed seems to talk, that seems to impact the gold price either positively or negatively. And I've got to say, the Fed is doing a fantastic job of juggling having to keep the dollar up and also the stock market up. So the week before, it's quite humorous. The week before the last Fed meeting, on Friday they brought out lacquer, and lacquer causes the stock market to drop but the dollar to go up. And then I think there was a holiday or something, but the very next trading day, they brought out the dovish Fed member, and she moved the stock. She stabilized the dollar and moved the stock market up. So anytime they want to cause a reaction now, all the traders on Wall Street are so tuned to the the comings and goings and the jawboning of the Fed that they trade off it. So it's become a day trader's paradise. The problem is you've got to know what side of the trade to be on, because you have to know what these events are. It seems like the short-term reaction now is event-driven. So you have to know what events are taking place around you, including Fed meetings, including options expiry, including when the Chinese are talking about their economy. It's just a never-ending stream of data that causes the high-frequency trading to erupt. So it's you got to keep your head on a swivel these days, but with the thought that the bias in gold now is up because we're in a bull market.
Bruce, at our dinner a few months ago, we were talking about the big picture, with what's going on in the euro, what's going on with the national debt, negative interest rates, which is essentially a default. If a borrower or lender doesn't get paid back, that's a guaranteed default policy. Big picture, what do you think the end game is when you look at the economy? I know you travel the world, you talk to some of the wealthiest family offices, wealthiest hedge fund managers. What is the next 3 to 5 years going to look like for these currency markets? Because I feel like, this 0% and negative interest rates, I don't see how there's an exit without having a catastrophic event in the markets, and specifically the currency markets.
Well, we've been living on borrowed time for quite a while now, and I just I'm amazed at the ability of the central banks and the Fed and to a large extent Wall Street just to keep the party going. There's some very, very bright people working in the U.S. government and its central banks and on Wall Street, and their livelihoods depend and the economies depend on a short-term basis to keeping everything going until they can get some inflation into the system. And we might be able to get some inflation in the system. So, I don't know on a long-term basis how all this is going to play out. I thought back in 2008 that we were going to get a washout of the financial system and get a reset. And I thought we would also see a perp parade on Wall Street where, somebody was going to go to jail. But nothing happened. It was just business as usual. Just like, I think there's been a few movies that have been put out about it, and numerous stories about how nothing really happened to the people that, defrauded the American public and the worldwide public. So, I just see that the middle class in the States is being gutted. I think it's being gutted probably worldwide as more and more taxes go to different programs, bailouts. So Deutsche Bank is in big trouble now, and it looks like the German taxpayer might be bailing out Deutsche Bank for all of its issues. So long term, I think that there's a mistrust in the currencies these days. I think that people can see that the economies are fragile. They're not growing as fast as they can. And I think in any environment that you can look at right now, there's a place for gold as an investment. And if you look at the growth of the middle class in China, they're snapping up gold. India, China are buying gold hand over fist. And I was looking at potential markets. All you have to do is go over to Kowloon. Every second store has gold in it, gold watches, gold jewelry. The big market for gold. And the production now seems to have stabilized, and it's probably going down. So we're going to see big demand with tight supply, and very little money has been spent in the last few years on new projects, on exploration, on finding projects that meet the size requirements of the majors. So all the projects that were in the pipeline have basically been built, and we need much higher prices now to generate some new activity in the gold market. So generally speaking, just based on money supply alone, and this is a number that I used to give to investors. If you just look at the money supply on a general basis, gold should be much higher, somewhere in the $2,500 range, just on monetary debasement. So that's a base number that I've used over the years, and I think it's still a good number.
Jim Rickards actually, I think he has it on just U.S. money supply. His number is closer to 10,000, and then when he actually uses global money supply, he almost doesn't even want to mention the number. I mean, it's over 50,000 an ounce if you base it off of all money supply. Bruce, on the mining sector front, I feel like we were all having a great party. Everybody kept saying the correction was coming. We had a little one in May, a little one in July, and then here we are from August to basically early October. We finally have had this big correction. What phase are we at in the mining sector? Where are the opportunities? And then once we briefly talk about that, I do want to get into I think it's a really big deal. Someone like yourself, founder of Timmins Gold, founder of Silvermex, has now become the chairman of Inca Gold, or Inca One, excuse me. So just to start, what phase are we at in the bull market for gold, specifically the mining shares?
Well, as somebody who has seen numerous cycles in the gold market, I would say it's still early days in this phase of the bull. We had a very nice run from 2001 all the way up to 2013, really, when they first took it down. And we've had a very bad, 2.5, 3 years since early 2013. But what I see now is that we're in the very early stages of a very strong bull market. I think the bull market has resumed. We're going to see new highs in the next couple of years in the gold price. So anybody, I think, who buys gold right now or gold stocks is going to do very well over the next few years. That 2011 high was not a major bubble. There wasn't the irrational exuberance that would normally be associated with a blow-off phase in the gold market, which is probably why I got caught in the downturn, because I didn't see that blow-off phase. The blow-off phase is coming, and we all want to be there when it comes, and we all want to be selling when it comes, but we're a long way from that. Yeah, we've got a few years under to go before we get to that blow-off phase.
Bruce, your resume, I mean, there's not very many resumes like yours. We talk about the mining sector all the time at Future Money Trends. We know that there's thousands of companies, public and private, when you add them all up, thousands of companies. I mean, it is literally 1 in 500, 1 in 1,000, where they actually go from conception to production. That's what you've done. So you just became the chairman of Inca One. Can you let me know a brief introduction of the company and what your own expectations and plans are for the company?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Inca One is a toll milling company in Peru. And it got caught in the downdraft of the last few years. And it's just gone through a restructuring. They've cleaned up $11 million in debt. There's only 57 million shares out after the restructuring. The debt holders took shares, and that's how the debt got cleaned up. The company is collecting its taxes in a timely manner, which was an issue for it in the past. They've got all that straightened out. They had some short-term cash flow issues, which have now been alleviated. So the company looks like it's in good shape. It's just got to get to positive cash flow, which it's working on right now. So it's gone through a big cleanup, and we're very excited now about getting to positive cash flow. So that's kind of step one. And the nice thing about the toll mill model is, first of all, you get to see where all the ore is coming from, and the ore comes from all over the country. So you get to see where the mines are. You get to know who the producers are. So you get to know the country. So it's been a very good entry into the country for Inca One. They've got a great team on the ground. The mill is operating at higher and higher capacity since the company is able to buy more ore. And the nice thing about the toll milling model is, as the price of gold goes higher, the revenues go up because it's got a sliding scale, and the top net revenue margin for the company is 40%. So the plan now is to take that positive cash flow and get out and look for some good development projects. And that's the next step, and that's what excites me about the company, and that's kind of my background is recognize good projects that can be taken into production.
Now, would you focus in the area of the toll mill, or are you looking? Is it just Peru you're looking at, or are you looking at other areas as well?
We're looking in Peru specifically right now. But if other opportunities came up, we'd certainly look at them in South America.
Now, just so people understand, so the company is processing ore from other producing companies, correct?
Yes, these are small-scale miners that don't have the ability or the finances to put up their own mill. So Inca One has a full toll mill in Peru. And it buys ore from the local, more of an artisanal mining group or groups, and the ore gets trucked to the processing plant. Inca One pays for it assays the product. It pays the miner on the spot at a discount, and then takes the profit for itself when it processes the ore. So it's really a cash management business, but you have to have good people on the ground that can do the work as well, and they got a good team down there.
Well, it's a very unique opportunity. Most companies, you guys are looking for a project that you guys can develop. Most companies that are looking for that, they have to keep going back and back to the market forever, right, for financing. You guys are in a situation where you may have to go to the market for financing, but it'll always be minimized by the fact that you guys are going to have cash flow, correct?
Right, and the only reason we'd have to go to the market would be for a good opportunity that required some financing. So the financing would, in that sense, would be non-dilutive because there would be hopefully a better asset value in the asset being acquired than the effect of the dilution. That's one thing I've always been very conscious of, is dilution. And I really like the fact that Inca One has a good, tight share structure. A lot of companies have blown up their share structures in the bad market, just staying alive. So this is a reset now for Inca One, and I'm really excited about the prospects of the company with the cash flow, with the minimized dilution, And the people they have. There's been some very good prospects that we're looking at right now for development properties.
Well, you're a proven winner, especially for precious metal investors. I would encourage everybody to check out Bruce, Bragagnolo, and Inca 1. Again, it's on the TSX Venture under IO, or on the U.S. side under INCAF. Bruce, thank you so much for your time. I hope to have a good dinner with you and some drinks in the near future. I'm not sure if you're going to any shows, but hopefully we'll rendezvous at a show.
That sounds really good.